This is the Triple Play Fantasy Basketball Show. I'm your host, Coach James Lewis, here to give you a 2022 NBA Mock Draft Lottery Edition based on knowing the lottery order, the picks of the teams, what's a good fit, also what do we think they will do. So let's get right into it. Pick number 1. The Orlando Magic, who finished a 22-60 record, select Chet Holmgren. Yes, Jalen Suggs' mini haha AAU teammate and best friend. Orlando likes drafting big men. They did so with Shaquille O'Neal as their number 1 pick. They did so with Dwight Howard. And they do not let down with Chet Holmgren. Yes, they are in need for scoring. A franchise player I think Chet could be in shooting. Chet gives a level of defensive versatility that I think this team is going to thrive on. You have Jonathan Isaac still to come back from an ACL injury that he missed last season. Franz Wagner looks like a sure deal, both offensive and defensive threat. You got Cole Anthony, Jalen Suggs going forward. I just love the energy. I would love how that would look. Of course, I mean, you look at SB Nation, they got Paolo. You got ESPN giving Jabari Smith love. And I know you can make an argument for all of them, but I would go with Chet Holmgren based on the points that I've made. And I would just really love to see that reignites of Jalen Suggs and Chet Holmgren. But I really wouldn't be mad with either of those other 2 picks. With the number 2 overall pick, it is the Oklahoma City Thunder, who I feel like since kind of the tanking days, they finally get this high of a pick. They get Jabari Smith, who to me is the best outside shooter and maybe the most versatile outside perimeter defender. They get a star that they can go with going forward. He's a foundational franchise piece. He doesn't play the Giddey or Shai Gilgeous-Alexander position. He's a developmental talent that I think that's just working super hard, and he's a culture setter that I think that the Oklahoma City Thunder will rave about day one once he steps on. Moving on to our 3rd pick. It's the Houston Rockets. They're back up in the top 3, and they got to find a fit for Jalen Green. They need some interior defense, playmaking, and point guard. Paolo's going to give him some playmaking. He's a scorer. Between him and Jalen Green, that's a lot of buckets. They have to grow. They got to find a way to play some defense around that. But you don't pass on a player that in a tournament, some could argue that he looked like the top prospect and the best player in this draft. And I'm not mad at that argument. He can really score the ball and isolate. He shows passing skills, although he did have more turnovers than assists this past year. He seems like he's not afraid of the moment. And I really like his trajectory going forward. I could see him leading all rookies in points per game. You try to see what he looks like next to Christian Wood. Maybe Alperen Sengun and him are a good fit. You got to find some defense, but that is the for sure pick. Moving on, pick number 4. The Sacramento Kings select a win now player. Keegan Murray looked the best player in college basketball overall. Yeah, he's a little older. He's a sophomore, people. But he's a bucket getter supreme. He almost averaged 24 points and never disappointed. He just is a very smart player. You traded for Domas Sabonis. You got Fox. you need somebody that's going to fit in there and try to get yourself in the playing game. Try to get yourself into that actual playoff mix, because they're coming kind of hovering around this point. They moved up in the lottery, and to get a player like Keegan Murray would definitely help that franchise. Although we all know that Jaden Ivey is higher on nearly every single board. I think this is just that situation where you go with a fit here. Moving on to pick number 5. It's Detroit. Stand up. You got the number 1 pick overall. Last year, you got Cade Cunningham. I'm not mad at it. I thought he's the best player in that draft. I think he's a great talent. I think he'll make many All-Star games and All-NBA. He showcased that towards the end of the season. But you still need a lot of pieces. Yeah, Saddiq Bey looks good. It looks like Killian Hayes was not a hit. And thus, somebody to complement Cade, Jaden Ivey, who can play with the ball in his hands and off, as we've seen this last season. You want to see him be a little bit more consistent shooting the 3 ball, but he's explosive. He's got a wingspan of like 6'9" at the guard position, which could make him a dynamic defensive player. They do a lot of switching. They were 3rd in the NBA in switches. You got him. You got Cade Cunningham. They play both ends of the court. He's a fierce competitor. He didn't go out in the tournament too well, but you can see Cade Cunningham throwing lobs, and that might be like the scariest backcourt of the future. Moving on to pick number 6. The Indiana Pacers, who start trading their players away, and they're looking for a rebuild. They need the best talent. They need defensive-minded players. Shaedon Sharpe, in his individual workouts, looks incredible. He looks like he can really, really score the ball. He can really shoot it from the outside. He's got a really good NBA body. The ceiling is the sky for this kid. And when you're Indiana and you're looking for the future, you're looking for somebody to plug in next to Tyrese Halliburton, as great as a talent he is. He doesn't look like the star, and Shaedon Sharpe might be that. So if he's sitting there at 6, I get him. I think that Sacramento is going to take a long look at him, but if he's there at 6, I'm definitely pulling the trigger if I'm Indiana. Moving on to pick number 7. The Portland Trailblazers that need to win. I mean, a team that was in the shoo-in for the playoffs years after year after year. Damian Lillard gets hurt, and you got to win now, or else he might even be on the beck and call of trying to get out. The Portland lifer, he just wants to win, and the team needs defense, wing depth, and they need to hit on the peg. They haven't been drafting well over the past years, since it seems since CJ. Who knows what's happened with Nurch? And a lot of people speculate that's going to be Jalen Duren, but I'm going to get Benedict Mathurin. He is a dog in his dog mentality. It seems like a great pairing with Damian Lillard. I think that they're going to get along very well. That's going to be his rook. He's ready for the moment. He can shoot from the outside, runs in transition. He's a fearless competitor. He gets better each and every year. I like Mathurin, and I would like him a lot better than a lot of people, but that's why I'm going to draft him. I think he's going to wow some people in the workouts, and that's why I got him going 7. I know he can go from 7 to 12, but give me Benedict Mathurin for the Portland Trailblazers. At pick 8, it's New Orleans Pelicans getting that pick from the Lakers. This is looking pretty good, because I think you're going to get a really good guy at number 8, and you've made a huge push in the playoffs. Brandon Ingram's coming into his own. We still need Zion fit. He comes back next year. He's probably going to opt into a lot of money this offseason, although he didn't play a single game. And you need shooting. You need more 3-and-D players. AJ Griffin. I mean, just imagine a team with CJ McCollum, Herb Jones, Zion, Brandon Ingram. That's a lot of length, and he can really catch and shoot it, and he really does have defensive abilities and upside. He's just a kid, 6'6", 222. He played some of his better games and better against better competition. He can't really score on his own right now, but I think he's a developmental project that can plug in and go and hit some threes open and hang. He's got an NBA body. If I'm the Pelicans and AJ Griffin's here at 8, I pick him at 9. The San Antonio Spurs, who seem to have drafted guards every single draft, with going from Primo to Vassell, Trey Jones, Lonnie Walker IV, Derek Wise over there in Boston, to, of course, the breakout star and DeJounte Murray. What do you need? You need a big guy. Give me a big guy. Jalen Duren, who's just a physical specimen, long wingspan. I think, and he's very young. I think the sky's the ceiling for him as well. I see, like, body wise, it's similar to Bam, but he's bigger. He has a lot of development, and what a better place than San Antonio. Please don't draft a guard here. I was scratching my head last year when you got Primo, and it just seems like, just draft another position, please. If he falls there, I know Portland, it'd be hard to pass on your future big man, especially with Joseph Nurkic's health conditions in his contract ending soon. But I peg Duren down here because I really want to see him play for San Antonio. They've been trying to find a big man since Timmy called it quits at 10. The Washington Wizards, who seem to always draft around this position, always kind of fail to draft the right person. I'm going to get you some playmaking. I'm going to get you one of the best players in college basketball, Johnny Smooth Davis of Wisconsin. This sophomore was lighting it up early and late. He had some spectacular moments. He really held his own defensively. He can really play in the pick and roll game. He attacks you. He can really rebound the ball very well, much a la Quentin Richardson. Doesn't have that same powerful game, but like I said, he's a smooth killer. You plug him next to Brad Beal, and if Brad Beal gets this $200 million once out, you maybe have a replacement there. So Johnny Davis falls to 10 because it's kind of been falling down draft boards, and Washington has a no-brainer here, and you have to get this player. At 11, don't at me. I don't know if the New York Knicks are going to like this pick that I have, because you want a lot of luck. You want a player to hit. And I'm kind of going with a safe guy and Dyson Daniels, who I think he's grown since this point. I think he's more like 6'8". He does everything well outside of shooting outside. He can switch defensively. He's physical. He can play make, can pass. He's really good downhill. He's got a good IQ. He had a very impressive G League Ignite showcase, and especially in All-Star Weekend. He has the body, and New York maybe not like this guy. I know Tibbs would like this guy if he only plays some young people. I thought about Ty Washington right here. New York's been craving for a point guard from a long time now, and I know he had an injury-riddled season, but they give a strong look at Ty, but they end up going with Dyson Daniels, who's high on most people boards at this time, which leads me to pick 12. And it's the OK City Thunder. Back up there again. What do we need? Foundational franchise. Hopefully that's Jabari. Developmental talent. And that person to me is Jeremy Sochan, who I think that he can play some small ball 5 at the next level. Fierce competitor defensively. His active hands. He's long. He's got a big frame. He's tough. You can't really move him too much. His offense needs development. It needs work. Even if you maxed his minutes out, because he was a freshman that came off the bench for Baylor, still wasn't scoring too much. But he looked the part. If you watch the game, like that guy looks like an NBA player. And I think OKC takes a chance, and maybe he's a pairing with Jabari Smith in the post going forward. A little 4, a little 5, depending on who you throw out there. Much has been talked about Usman Dang. I don't really see it. I think a sleeper here might be Nikola Jovic. I know he's a lot lower on the boards, but he just seems like an OKC player that he can really shoot the ball, and maybe he jumps up the charts here. I mean, they did draft Josh Giddey last year, where a lot of people didn't think he would go that high. At 13, the pick is in. 2 more picks here in the lottery, and that is the Charlotte Hornets, who are desperate for a rim-running lob threat protector. They need to think about the future as far as Gordon Hayward can't stay healthy. Do you pay Miles Bridges the bag? Those are 2 things that you really got to think about, and that's that general office. But Mark Williams is that. He had the longest standing reach at the combine. It's standing still, hands to the sky. He can almost touch the rim. He's like 2 inches away from it, and it's like 5 inches more than anyone else. So you throw the ball up. I'm LaMelo. I'm in a pick and roll. Throw that thing up. Mark Williams will grab it. He can rebound well. He's very tough. He's got low fat percentage, so he keeps it a tight body throughout the year. Games against like Syracuse or in the tournament, he was outstanding, 72%. I mean, you're not going to get much from the outside, but Mark Williams is, to me, an NBA player needing a starting center and youth. This is a home run pick for the Charlotte Hornets if he is still there on the board. And with our last pick in this lottery, Cleveland Cavaliers. The story of this year is they finished 44-38 and really came out the gate. Darius Garland looks like a budding star, all-star. Kevin Love's found a role at the bench. They really hit on Evan Mobley going number 3. What do they need? Wing scoring, consistent 3D. I don't know if Isaac Okoro is the answer. I've sold my ticket on Isaac Okoro. Although he can defend, I don't think it's ever going to come offensively. But Malaki Branham, Ohio State, he really seemed like he can fill it up and at efficient level. I think is a perfect fit here in Cleveland. He can shoot from the outside. I mean, look at his percentages. 50% from the field, 42 from 3, 83 from a free throw line. And like I said, once he came on, it was undeniable that this is a 3-level scorer, and he only is going to get better. Yeah, they think about Ochai Agabi, who led Kansas to the national title, but give me Malaki Branham, and I know I've seen him on other mock jacks. They kind of thinking the same thing. Let me know what you think. Subscribe to the channel. If you do, comments, I comment back. We're here, and I'm excited for the NBA draft. I do got to give a shout out to Fantasy Points for their support nonstop. And that's it. Until next time, Kevin and I will be doing the full first round coming very soon within the next week. So outside of the first 14 picks, me and him, we're going to go back and forth and try to put our GM hats for certain teams. Adios. I'll see you next time.
Lately I've been feeling things change. We've been working hard, no sleep, get it every day. And I swear that we ain't stopping till we pay. Yeah, the pressure on, gotta make it work, triple play, yeah.